Kelly Fox is with us this morning from ICTC. Our conversation brought to you by Marcus and Mack, a law firm representing injured people. Kelly, good morning to you.
Good morning, Todd. Very smooth transition. I love it.
All right. So indeed, virtual learning today at ICTC. And, without the pandemic, probably a lot of these schools are doing the old-fashioned 2-hour delays that are so common around these parts. That's one thing that the pandemic has done, is it's enabled school districts to adapt, and maybe a little quicker than some of them might have wanted to or felt the need to. But you got to take advantage of the tools at hand, and ICTC certainly is doing that today. And well, let's talk a little bit about the pandemic and how ICTC has responded.
Yeah, well, even before snow was part of the forecast months ago, when we were beginning to bend and flex and come up with all of these new and different ways for our students to become engaged in their learning, we talked about the fact that we may never experience a snow day again. Because we can really, the longer we do this remote learning and provide virtual opportunities for our students, we're learning that education can be put into this format and offered then to students and avoid interruptions in their educational path. And so today's a great example of that. I'm glad to be with you this morning, and it's exciting still. We're working with students. The first snow of the year is an exciting time. As a kid, a snow day is a great thing. As an adult, sometimes a snow day is a great thing. But those days may be fewer and farther between because of all of the things that we've learned in 2020, Todd.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about some of the things that ICTC has been doing and maybe look a little bit forward to how ICTC continues to adapt. It's certainly been a challenge, and especially from ICTC's angle, because your students are coming from different school districts. That's how a kid gets there, is by going to another school district. So what they do there can impact what happens at ICTC.
Absolutely, and that is one of the dynamics that is very unique to the ICTC. We find ourselves right in the middle of working with each and every sending district here in Indiana County. And on one hand, that's a great blessing, and we've always enjoyed the relationships that we build with those districts and the students that come to ICTC from every Indiana County school. But then on the other hand, in a situation like this, with every district more or less coming up with a plan that they feel is best for the students in their district, and having it be so different and unique from all the others, from an ICTC seat, that's a little bit of a challenge, because what we have then said is, for us, of course, because of the nature of career and technical education, obviously, the best situation for our students, of course, is to be in person with the equipment, learning the skills hands-on right there, 6 feet away from the instructor, with a mask on and sanitizing often. So those, of course, we're maintaining our CDC guidelines just like everybody else, but because of the types of tools that our students use, having our students with us is obviously the best case scenario. But I want to give a big shout out to our teachers, too, and any teacher really across Indiana County. Everybody has learned a whole new lesson this year that they did not take a class to learn. They have learned on the fly and really reached out to places like Google Classroom, Zoom, and put all of these virtual learning opportunities together for our students. Yeah. And, for our teachers alone, like today, most of them are opting to offer virtual learning. That means that they can either be in the school, or if they're able to present their lesson from home, they can be presenting that lesson to their students in the morning and in the afternoon. Mm-hmm. And class goes on. We're one day further into the lesson plan, and that's an awesome opportunity. Many of them also have lessons up on Google Classroom. These are pre-recorded, live-streamed lessons or other opportunities for students to tap into at any time, and then they can pick up that knowledge or those lessons because maybe they weren't able to tune into that live stream. And so the advantage of being in live stream or virtual learning, of course, is that you have real interaction with the teacher. There's questions, there's answers, there's conversation. The Google Classroom opportunity allows students to get the most of that, but then they don't get that live interaction unless they're able to email the teacher or call the teacher.
Of course, as you have said, obviously it's better, especially where you have a bunch of hands-on type course offerings at ICTC, to actually be there in person. So how is ICTC doing that this semester?
We have been in, for the most part, in class, and our structure alone allowed us to follow the CDC guidelines. We offer, as you know, an AM session. So half of our students come in the morning, and then we divide them out into 13 program areas when they walk through the door. So that AM session breaks down into 13 smaller groups, and within each of their areas, procedures were put into place. We have dividers where dividers are needed. The plexiglass, or we have some, I'm going to call them like a really heavy-duty shower curtain that's clear and that you can see through. Sometimes those are dividing the areas just so that there can still be the sight across the room, and communication can still occur through those dividers. All of our students are wearing masks, of course, 100% of the time. There are no mask breaks. We have a limited hallway traffic. We don't have a lot of hallway traffic to begin with, but all of our students enjoy vending. We've put a hold on the vending machines, and common areas are no longer used to congregate with our students. So really, the students are there, they're focused on their learning, and we are taking full advantage of every day that we can be in the classroom so that they can have their teacher with them and instructing them right there in the class.
Yeah, it's a good way to go about things. Of course, we remember Mr. McDermott telling us about finding that you characterize it as heavy-duty shower curtain, that clear plastic that is so thick, and you see that in a lot of industrial applications. And for him to find that and then adapt it really points to the need to be adaptable through whatever circumstances you find yourselves in.
Yeah, you know what? Kudos to our maintenance department and our administration over the summer, because when we came back in the fall, a lot of that was hung, put in place. I mean, our classrooms looked ready to go, and we had, of course, we missed our students. We weren't with them the last part of the year there during the fourth marking period, and so to come back and see that things were different, but yet we were making changes to prepare for those students to return. That was very exciting, because that meant that they were actually going to be walking through the door and we'd be able to work with them.
Absolutely. All right, so that's what's going on at ICTC right now, just working it through, keeping everybody safe, and that certainly is the goal through all of this, is to get the education done and at the same time, and more importantly, keep everybody safe from COVID-19. We have not heard of specific outbreaks within ICTC as we have at some of our sending school districts, or some of your sending school districts. So it's good news, and it means that those sending students to you, they're making every effort to send you kids who are virus-free.
Right. Before they come to us, of course, I believe our sending schools are doing things like temperature checks and making sure that the health and wellness of our students is where it needs to be in order for them to board a bus and travel to ICTC. And then, of course, we have our own school nurse, and we have ways to monitor the health and safety of our students once they're with us as well.
All right, so we are coming toward the end of, people always think of the first 3 months as the first semester. Of course, the first semester, the first half of the year goes into January. But at any rate, we're coming toward the holiday break, and kids are all looking forward to that. As we look forward into the next segment of the school year for ICTC, I know that we'll continue with the pandemic measures and everything, but what are some of the goals that you have for the school for the next 3 to 6 months?
Well, something exciting that we're working on, because we've been able to be in session, our digital communication program is working diligently on gathering film footage and video to put together an ICTC video because, of course, I believe the introduction of the ICTC to this year's freshman class is going to look a little different than what we've experienced in the past. And so we are trying to put together a very informative but short video because, to take 13 areas and to really put them into video and to allow students to watch that, we don't want to make it too long to have them check out on us, but we're trying to capture just the meat of the program, get the information out there in a quick format so that students can still elect to hopefully come in shadow or somehow, plan their schedule. We're still working with our sending districts, and as you know, in this pandemic, we don't plan too far out in advance, but we're just preparing for some thoughts and some formats that we need to put together to create our incoming class next year.
Yeah, you have to be flexible in the way you do everything during this school year. Kelly Fox, thank you so much for being with us. The best of ICTC over the holidays.
Yeah, and hey, if I can put a shout out there, during this pandemic and with remote learning, one of the biggest challenges that we've had is internet connection, of course, for some of our students who live in the most rural parts of our area. So I know that our local officials and things are working on trying to get internet service available to all of our students, but that is so necessary in times like these. So I just want to put a shout out there, and our students are trying and they're connecting when they can, but when they don't have those connections, that makes it very difficult. So then we go to the paper pencil packet version.
There you go. Whatever works.
Whatever works. That's right.
Beautiful. All right, Kelly, thank you so much. Best of holidays to you as well.
Merry Christmas to you, Todd, and Happy New Year. Happy 2021, right?
There you go. Thank you, dear.
Okay, thank you. Take care. Thank you. Take care.